back to the Parallel Universe. I'm your host, Logan Bruce, and I have Mitchie Aurora helping me out today. Say hello, Mitchie.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks a lot for helping me out. I really appreciate it. Um, Now, today in this universe, I will be talking about Robotech. Now, if you don't know what Robotech is, I'll tell you what that is and what's it all about. But first, I would like to give a shout out to Anderson. My boy Anderson said, "Hey, can you talk about Robotech? That's one of my favorite animes, and I would love it if you would talk about it." So, Anderson, here you go, buddy. I got you covered. Okay, so now Robotech is an sci-fi franchise. We all know that, and it first aired in the United States in 1984, I do believe, and it was produced by Harmony Gold in association with Sunco. Did I pronounce that right, Mitchie?
No.
I didn't. How do you pronounce that?
Tatsunoko.
Tatsunoko Production. Okay, so Tatsunoko Production, and they were helping Harmony Gold with the production of Robotech, and it was, like I mentioned, it first aired in the United States in 1984. So what was the show about? Well, first off, before I tell you what the show was about, let me give you a little bit of background behind it. Now, the show consisted of three different animes that were not even distinct through. They didn't have nothing to do with Robotech. To be honest, they were just three different shows, and they took those shows and meshed them together, and they became Robotech. And those shows were Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Super Dimension Cavalry Southern Cross, and Genesis Climber. What is that? Mesopotamia? That's not Mesopotamia, is it? What is that? Mospedia. I don't know what that is. But anyway, see, that's why I got Mitchie helping me out today, because I would have messed up everything. So there you go. Those three shows, they kind of put them all together to make Robotech. And the reason why they had to do that is because they needed, 65 episodes for syndication here in the United States. That's what you had to have in order to meet the minimum for syndication. And so they had to take those three shows, put them together to form Robotech, so they would have enough episodes for to air in the United States. So that's why the three of them. And if you ever wondered about a lot of Japanese anime that you see that came from Japan, that in the United States sometimes it looks like it is kind of a mesh of different scenes. That's why, because a lot of the scenes that they take are from different episodes from a different show, or they had to cut out a scene because it wasn't appropriate to air in the United States, and so they had to cut it out and replace it with something else, a different scene, so a different shot. So that's why sometimes in those early '80s animes, you get those shots and those scenes rather, and it looked like you're like, whoa, what happened? That's why, because a lot of times it's taken from like 3 or 4 different other animes, and they put them together and they form a scene, or they had to cut a scene out that wasn't quite appropriate for American television. So there you go. Now, what is Robotech all about? Well, the term Robotech or Robotechnology refers to scientific advances from a crashed alien ship. Now, the ship crashed in the South Pacific, and with the technology, the Earth scientists, they developed the Robotech technology, which formed mechas, and we all know what a mecha is. It is a giant fighting robot, and they use these to fight off an invasion of an alien race called the Zentranis. And so now what they don't know, what they didn't know is that the Zentranis, they were actually giant. See, of course, we know mechas and those big robots, they're big. So they're thinking that, they're fighting, just other giant robots. But they did not know that the alien race, the Zentranis, were actually a giant race, because the Zentranis were in, their own mecha, and so then when I do believe it was Rick Hunter, he killed one, and then he realized that, oh snap, there's a person inside this thing, or it was a alien race, and they were like, these things are giant, so it freaked them out. So that's a little bit about what the show is about, and they're fighting off the Zentrani's, trying to hold off and an invasion. So that's always what a lot of these animes are about, fighting off an invasion, because we can't have a bunch of aliens running around Earth. Come on, man. Unless you're like Superman or something like that, then hey, or the Martian Manhunter. Those aliens are pretty cool. We don't mind them. But anything else, no, you gotta get out of here with that kind of mess. So that's what they were doing. Now a little bit about these mechas that they created. They are pretty cool because they combine everything I love about giant fighting machines. First of all, they had three forms. These mechas or the Robotech fighters had three different forms they were in. One, of course, was an airplane. Who doesn't like to see a jet plane flying through the sky, armed to the T, just ready to do havoc on a bunch of aliens. So you had the jet mode. Second was a combination of the jet mode and robot mode. So think about Starscream, and he has his wings out in the nose cone of the jet, but then his legs are down and his arms out. That's what the second mode of Robotech transformation looked like. It was just the legs and the arms of the robot, but the wings and the nose were still up, and they used this mostly when they were flying through Macroft City, because it could go in between the buildings real quickly. It could dip and dodge all between the buildings with ease to fight the Zentrani's or hide or whatever they needed to do. And it was very practical in that way, because it could get go between those buildings real quickly. So it had the I guess the combination of speed from the jet, and it could carry the weapon and fly of the robot. So you had all of that cool stuff with it in this second form. And then of course the third form was the robot, fully transformed. It was just this giant, it was tall as a building, giant robot. Think of Starscream fully transformed, and they would fight these Zentrani's. Now, one thing the Zentrani's were looking for, they were trying to find protoculture, and I'm not going to tell you what that's all about, because if you're interested so far, I'm gonna let you guys look that up and find out what protoculture is. So but anyway, that's just a little bit about the show and the main plot. And then of course with animes, you got to have characters. I mean, who doesn't like the characters? You got to have that, or else you don't have an anime. And the character development is very wonderful. Of course, we have the star of Robotech, which is Rick Hunter, and Rick Hunter was just a pilot from the circus, from the air circus, and he loved flying his airplane and having fun in the circus. That's all he was. And he went to go visit Roy Faulkner, I do believe is what his name was. He went to go visit him, and of course Roy is in the military, so he's a pilot of one of the Robotechs, and Rick was just coming to visit him, and and see what all the fuss was about with the Robotech and everything. So, and he was actually coming because they had just got that crashed spaceship. They just fixed it up, and now they had the ability to fly now. And so it was its maiden voyage from Earth to fly, and they were like, everybody was excited because it had crashed. And this thing is big. First of all, let me explain how big. This is just not like a regular spaceship. This spaceship is gigantic. I mean, if you dig into it a little bit more, you'll see why the ship is so big. But it was so big that it actually became a city. They built, because it crashed on the islands, South Pacific Island, and they actually built the city around it while they were trying to reverse engineer it and figure out all these good things about it. And so, people come to work there, so they just started building homes and restaurants and shops and everything else. So it just became a city. So this spaceship is the size of a city. So just think about the biggest city that's in your area. I would say something like New York, but I don't know where you guys are listening at. So wherever you're listening at, the biggest city in that area, that's how big this spaceship is. So pretty big spaceship. And so yeah, so it was the maiden voyage. So it was this big thing that was happening. And so here comes Rick from the air circus to visit his friend Roy and everything. And when you know it, as soon as he gets there and takes a look at one of the Robotech fighters, the Zentrani attack. So Rick was in the Robotech flying it, just having a good time, and now all of a sudden he's caught up in a battle that he did not, think he was going to be involved. He just came to visit his friend Roy, and next thing now he's shooting down Zentranis, and so they were trying to figure out who was in that, in the Robotech, because he was just all over the place. It wasn't information. He wasn't flying the Robotech ship correctly, and so they were trying to pilot who was that in there, and he was like, "It's me, Rick Hunter," and he didn't know what he was doing, but in the course of him not knowing what he was doing, he did save Minmay, and Minmay she's just this waitress, right? But she wants to be a singer, and it's pretty cool because she becomes the kind of, I guess, the spokesperson for the people love her. She gets them hyped up, so to speak, with her songs, and if you're in a bad mood, they cheer you up, and they just make people of her feel like they can accomplish anything with Minmay and her singing her song. So those are three of the characters. We got Roy, Rick, and Minmay, and then we have the bridge crew. Of course, we have Lisa Hayes, and she was the commander of the bridge crew. We have Captain, I think his name was Grovel. Of course, he was the captain of the whole ship. And we had Claudia. Oh, I cannot remember Claudia's last name. You think you can find out what Claudia's last name is for me? But the cool thing about Claudia, she was in a relationship with Roy Faulkner, and that was pretty cool. Because the reason why I say it was cool is because Claudia was of dark nature. Claudia Grant. Thank you, Mitchie, for bringing that up. I appreciate it. So yeah, Claudia Grant, and she was in a relationship with Roy Faulkner, and like I said, Lisa Hayes. And then there were some other characters. Maximilian, who was he came in just a little bit later, and he was like one of the best pilots there. You had Rick Roy, Maximilian. I think there was another one. I think his name was what's his name? Let me see. Can't remember what his name is at the moment. Let me see. Mitchell's going to see if she can bring it up for me. I think his name was Ben Dixon was the third pilot, I do believe, and those were like the best four pilots out of the whole, Robotech military. And then of course you had some other ones. Of course you had those on the Zentrani. I think there was one named Dozer, and there were some other ones. Trying to find them now, but Mitch is trying to bring those up for me. Okay, there goes one. His name was Beetle and Dozel, and there was a couple of other ones up here. And it was funny because some of the Zentranis, they were trying to figure out what these human things were, and so a lot of them shrunk down and became, they started looking like humans, so they could infiltrate, Earth people and see what they're about and see, all about them. And it was funny because they started to like the humans. They started to like having fun because they went to a concert. Matter of fact, they went to one of MA's concerts, and they enjoyed it. They loved the food and everything. So you see the development of these characters, throughout the whole series, and that's good. Because Minmay grows up to be this big star, and of course there was some love interest between Rick and Minmay, but then later on, things kind of switched up, and there was someone else who kind of had the hots for Rick, which is cool. At first, they didn't like each other, so I give you a little hint. So if you guys want to look into that, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. And so you see this character development as the show goes on, and then they try to figure out, as like I mentioned, as the show goes on, that hey, these guys ain't all bad, because you had the Zentrani saying that the Earthlings ain't bad, all that bad, and you had the Earthlings saying that, hey, these Zentrani people ain't, it's not as bad as what we thought. So it's a really good show. Now, just a word of caution, just to let you guys know, if you don't know anything about Japanese anime, the main characters can die. I'll just say that. So you can get attached to a character. It could be your favorite character, and something could happen and they die. The Japanese anime, they do not care if someone is gone. They would definitely wipe somebody all out. They there this episode, the next episode they ain't there, and then they got to change the whole intro because they got to take that person out because the person was in the intro and now they're dead, so they ain't there no more. So just a word of caution to you guys who who watch these Japanese animes for the first time. Your favorite character might not be there, so I just wanted to give you that word of warning. But anyway, so Robotech, it was came out in the 80s, and of course they had a lot of different movies and books and things that came from Robotech. One of my favorite animes. It had that 80s vibe, that 80s anime look, which I love, like Voltron and Gundam, all of those wonderful 80s animes. Defenders of the Earth, just wonderful anime that I just love that style. Voltron, all that good stuff. So Robotech, what a wonderful cartoon. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, you guys. Check it out. You will be surprised. You won't be surprised, I should say that, and you will be happy that you checked it out, man. So check it out and tell me what you think about it. You can always leave me a message. Y'all know what to do. But anyway, that's going to bring an end to this universe. I thank you guys so very much for all your support and love that you have shown me. Mitchie, thank you so very much for your help. I couldn't have done it without you.
You're very welcome, because you still didn't know how to pronounce Tatsunoko, even though we went over it 4 times.
I know I did not know how to pronounce it, so yes, I'm glad you were here because I did mess it up, and I would have messed it up even further. Just to let you guys know, we will be on a short little break because we are going down to Florida. A friend of mine, he is getting married, so congratulations to you, Troy. I'm happy for you, my friend. And like I promised you, Anderson, I told you I had you, man. I told you. Robotech, here it is. So you guys, thank you so very much once again for all your support. You can definitely leave me a message at the Parallel Universe 1974 at gmail.com, on Instagram, X. I finally said it right. I normally say Twitter. X. I got it right at Logan_Bruce42. And of course on Facebook. So check out Robotech. Tell me what you think. Leave a message, like, subscribe. And once again, I really appreciate all the support. Couldn't do it without you. You guys, thank you so very much. And as always, we'll see you in the Parallel Universe.